Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 6.
You just don't ever think it happens to anyone that you love. He's a brother, best friend, like, he's not any trouble. He just needed help.
A somber message about addiction from a Dilworth woman who lost a 20-year-old Moorhead man, a friend, last night to an apparent heroin overdose. More young people are dying in our community, and bad heroin is being blamed. There have been 3 overdoses in Moorhead alone in the last week, and that's just the ones that police have responded to.
Last night, a young man died in his home. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Nicole Johnson has more.
I didn't expect to wake up and hear my best friend was dead. When you look at Ahmed, you don't see a bad criminal. You don't think he would do anything bad. It's just a very bad disease that took over him.
Friends say 20-year-old Moorhead High School graduate Ahmed Gardi was funny, smart. Everyone wanted to be his friend, but an addiction that began after high school took control.
It's a big epidemic and it's killing a lot of people.
Selena Cordova describes Gardi as a brother, a friend. She doesn't want remembered as a bad person.
People say that heroin addicts deserve to just die off. He didn't deserve to die. He deserved another chance to be able to get married or have children, go to school, have a life. That's what he deserved.
Anyone who may be hearing the word about these tragic events that believes they possibly have a drug problem, we're asking that they think about this and get the right help. We're asking that it be open discussions in families so that if they have a belief or a suspicion that even an acquaintance of their children or anyone that could be helped by trying to bring this awareness of this dangerous problem that we're currently experiencing.
It does seem to be escalating. The numbers are going up of the deaths and the tragedies surrounding the opioid and heroin epidemic in our area. But each one translates into someone somebody loves and cares about.
Love and care are what Cordova is hoping people learn from Gardi's overdose. Enough care to reach out for help.
After someone is lost in this kind of addiction, it just takes over who they are. It's not who they are anymore. They just need to get help.
In Moorhead, Nicole Johnson, Valley News Live.
Police are reminding us about Good Samaritan laws that give immunity to both the victim and the person reporting an overdose when asking for medical help. And if you or someone you know has an addiction problem, there are resources on our website. Just log on to valleynewslive.com and click on this story.
Newly uncovered court documents outline what happened during last Friday's standoff at the Roadway Inn Motel in West Fargo. We learned that a shot nearly hit officers trying to enter the room. Valley News Team's Ashley Bishop has more on what the documents revealed. Ashley?
Mike, shots were fired at the officers. They missed and flew over the head of one officer. The court documents say the officer did not return fire because there was a man between him and 37-year-old Jan Michael Wangstead. As officers retreated the room, Wangstead fired again, but this time hit a sprinkler system. Wangstead faces 6 felony charges, including attempted murder. Documents say Wangstead was angry and wanted to get high. He said that the girls in the room with him hid his drugs. Wangstead also said he had a grenade and would kill anyone that came close to him. Now, the SWAT team and robots did enter the building, and police negotiated with Wangstead. Hours later, after 5.5 hours actually, Wangstead surrendered. As evidence list shows, officers found a 9mm handgun, a box of bullets and magazines, along with pills, a baggie of a crystal substance, and other drug paraphernalia. Mike?
All right, thanks, Ashley. Wangstead's criminal history shows multiple felony convictions in Minnesota, including drug possession, burglary, criminal sexual conduct, and simple robbery. Wangstead could face a maximum of 20 years in prison for attempted murder if he's convicted. Now, West Fargo police have released a written statement about the incident and why they didn't shoot Wangstead. To see that, visit our website.
It was a bit cooler today in Fargo, but it wasn't as bad as what other parts of the valley saw. Let's head over to Hutch Johnson for a first look of of tonight's forecast. Hutch?
Andrea, we have quiet weather here compared to our neighbors from the south. A huge storm system impacting the central Rockies all the way up toward the Twin Cities, and severe weather in the form of thunderstorms and a tornado watch for portions of Nebraska, Omaha, Missouri. And as we head through the evening, we'll stay quiet here. 44 right now in the Fargo area, 35 in Devils Lake, 37 out towards Alexandria. We'll be in the 30s as we spend most of the time with a northeast breeze that'll be pretty brisk as well. We do have some milder weather to talk about, a chance of rain and snow in our forecast, and details on what you can expect for the holiday weekend coming up here in just a few minutes.
Including Easter, yes, of course. Thanks, Hutch. A man is behind bars after court documents say he was arrested for gross sexual imposition against his 7-year-old niece. Documents say this man, Ernesto de la Cruz, was arrested after allegedly kissing his 7-year-old niece on the neck, leaving visible marks that looked like hickeys. Documents also state that de la Cruz kissed the girl on the lips and touched her buttocks. De la Cruz says the marks on his niece might have been caused by his mustache rubbing on her neck. He has been charged with 1 count of child abuse and was booked into the Cass County Jail.
The man who experts say threw a punch that left former NDSU football player Isaac Kolstad with severe brain damage will not serve time in prison. Kolstad suffered critical injuries after he was punched by a man outside a Mankato bar in May of 2014. His attacker pleaded guilty to first-degree felony assault as part of a plea bargain. I want to show you surveillance video from that incident. It shows Kolstad knocking a man to the ground and then another man punching Kolstad, who then fell and hit his head on the pavement. Medical experts say after Kolstad hit the ground, he was then kicked in the head. Another man charged in the case took a plea deal and also avoided jail time. A third man is facing up to 20 years in prison. Just last year, Texas joined the ranks of states allowing college students to carry concealed weapons. But in North Dakota, that's not the case. On their end, NDSU says that they have 2 policies governing what's allowed. And university police do offer limited storage for guns used in hunting. So what do students think about this?
I don't see that immediate response being to allow students to carry weapons, but I think it would be fair to look into it.
With the Second Amendment being an amendment itself, and with these school shootings that have happened further south and along in the country, it makes sense.
In Minnesota, colleges and universities are allowed to decide for themselves if they want to permit concealed carry or not.
We're watching legislation introduced by Republican state lawmakers today to restrict transgender people's access to public restrooms and locker rooms. They unveiled a bill today that would require transgender people to use bathrooms that match their sex at birth and not the gender they identify with. Supporters say the legislation is needed, but the governor expressed his opposition today.
Their rabid base is homophobic, and they wrap themselves in the Bible to pretend that there's justification for it. And the Bible says, love thy neighbor as thyself.
Governor Dayton says he will veto the bill if it reaches his desk.
Focus groups are helping the Fargo Park District decide on what's needed in a new multi-million-dollar facility. By the end of this year, the study about a multi-purpose recreational facility should be completed. Fargo Parks expects the project to be finished within the next 3 to 4 years. The top suggestions so far include a building that has turf or a hard court surface, one with ice and one with community room space. There's also been talk of a possible indoor water park.
I think we're a growing community. I think a lot of amenities are needed. I've grown up in this town my entire life, and I would be an advocate for more youth opportunities regardless of what they are.
If you'd like to express your opinion, you can take a poll on valleynewslive.com on what you think should be in this new facility. So far, the overwhelming response, with nearly 57% of the vote, is an indoor water park. Now, you can also attend a public meeting tomorrow. It'll be held at 7 o'clock at the Downtown Depot.
If you like to hunt big game in North Dakota, licenses are limited. How long you have to try and get one this year? Later on Valley News Live at 6.
And even though this storm system is impacting weather well to our south, air traffic here in the valley is delayed and some spots canceled. Details on how this storm exits and what you can expect as the weekend approaches coming up next.